Hi everyone, how are you? I thought of making a little bit of a longer video and finally on landscape mode so that all my YouTube watchers can feel more comfortable watching it like you usually watch YouTube unless you're addicted to reels, shorts on YouTube. Sorry, I'm the one addicted to reels, so I'm getting things confused. So I figured that we can talk about lust a little bit, since last time we talked about pride, I might as well make it a capital sins kind of series. And the first thing that comes to mind when I think of lust, well, of course, usually it's on the man side of the spectrum, because I feel like women, we can talk about that later. Let's just start with men. Was an influencer on Instagram. I'm sure some of you may know. She went through something and she posted about her boyfriend and said men that cannot control their lust cannot lead. And I just thought that was so perfectly put, I must say. Lust has a lot to do with drive, obviously. You are driven to, just like you're driven to get a burger when you're hungry, when you're lustful, you're driven to get something of sexual pleasure. And the thing about that kind of drive is that it can actually be channeled in other ways. It's not so much like hunger that it's so essential that you can't really make it into something else. It's kind of like, if you look at the four elements, they are the most basic, fundamental elements of creation, of existence, so you can't kind of break it down further and make them into something else. Like earth, you can't make earth into another element. You can make them interact, but you can't really reduce it. So that's what makes it elemental or essential. And I feel like hunger is more like on the elemental side. You can't really, it's so essential you can't change it. But lust, it feels a little bit more luxurious, and that leads me to connect the dots of men that can't control their lust cannot lead. Because when that drive is controlled, especially for a man, because it is such a big challenge for them, much bigger than for women, 99% of the time, let's put it that way. If they can control that lust and they can manage that drive, the amount of power that they get. Okay, trying again because my video cut off. I ran out of storage, so I have to keep this short. But when men learn to handle their lust, their drive becomes freed to use in the rest of their lives. And usually that shows up first in their personal relationship with themselves, in their personal development. Their awareness of themselves increases and their focus increases, and that focus obviously can be very beneficial to whatever drive they have or you have, and to channel that into whatever area of life that you want, and reap so many rewards, because all of that energy that was just channeled to sexual desire and pursuit and frustration now can be actually fulfilled in something a little more wholesome, and something that can benefit more than just those base desires that doesn't actually even benefit you. Because like I said, it's not even that elemental, it's more luxurious, and it's not to be cast out per se, but just to be a little bit measured and contained brings so many more benefits than not doing it. And now I want to talk a little bit about lust for women, because most women don't have a problem with lust, meaning at least in the aspect of lust overtaking them or kind of like becoming a focus in their lives. And when it does happen, it's usually tied into emotion. And interestingly enough, that's the same case for when women are lacking that desire or libido or sexual interest, because they also have emotions kind of trapping that, smothering that fire. And then on the other side, sometimes you have emotions that are enmeshed with lust, and the emotions kind of like fan the flames, and then it becomes unquenchable, like a desire or a promiscuous kind of attitude, because yeah, they may have learned that there is power there, especially because men usually don't have control on their side, so it becomes even more of a power play with men. But it's usually tied in with emotion, and they are trying to fulfill an emotional need through sex, and that also does not bring good benefits for them, their own mental health and integrity, and personal development and personal relationship with themselves, but also for the society in general, as we can see. So, if both men and women were committed to taking the reins of their lust, for men, it's more about the lust itself as a primal desire and drive, and channeling that into something else. And for women, it's more about the emotion side and making that into the focus of where they should be gaining control and reigning in their energy, and then using that emotional energy to focus and to build something, to nurture something rather, which is a woman's strength usually with their emotional capacity. But of course, every woman will be different. The expression will be a little bit different. I don't want to get into the realm of emotions here. We're talking about lust, so I don't want to get too far out because, like I said, I don't have a lot of time. I don't have a lot of storage room, unfortunately, yet. So, just to keep it to the point of lust, that usually for women to take control of their lust, whether it be to increase that fire or to control that, then they have to pay attention to their emotions. And for men, if they want to succeed more in life, whether it be in their relationships or their career or their own personal development, they should focus on lust and rearing that in. So I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time. Hopefully next time I can talk a little bit more. I'll try to make that work.